There you go.
All right. Um, I think we are live. I figured it out. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just now finally uh, tuning in to our um, program this evening, it's great to have you all back again to another episode of the Stay Home Live Virtual Poetry Reading Series. We have another great set of poets coming to you live from across Turtle Island. We are excited to be welcoming back two previous poets who've graced our virtual stage before, Cinnamon Kills First and Christian Demar. Very grateful and honored to have them back again with us tonight. Tonight we are without our partners, the Midwest Writing Center and Sarah Elgatian, and we do want to give them a shout out for always, being there to help us out to do this show. So shout out to them and all that, all the things that they're doing. Definitely check out their page because they're always putting out shows and writing events and stuff like that. So check out the Midwest Writing Center. Also, for those of you who are tuning into the show for the first time, I created this reading series because I wanted to emphasize the message of doing our part by staying home. Staying home helps us slow down the spread of this disease that's going around, this virus. If We must go out, remember to wear a mask, always mask up, be mindful of other people's space and all of that, and just do our part and wear a mask. If we got to go home, but always keep in mind, that the virus is still out there, and so we got to do our part. And so that's why I wanted to create this show. I wanted to create some kind of edutainment on Saturday night to give people something to do, young people, in hopes that they would stay home. I started this back in March when we were, shelter in place order, when all of this started going on. So that's where this idea came from, to stay home. And unfortunately, we still gotta, do that. We still gotta keep staying home and all of that stuff. Um, so let's just keep that in mind. Take care of each other and take care of our communities and our elders and our sick people, our young people. Um, so not only that, I wanted to remind people, to register to vote. It's very crucial time for all of us to partake in the voting process to ensure our futures are better than what they were and are but than they are and were. And I think that, we're going through a crazy time right now, but always keep in mind that there are better days, brighter days after all of those dark days. So keep in mind, keep your heads up. And this is the first time that I've been registered to vote. I got registered to vote. So I just want uh, to let you know that that's how important it is, because even someone like myself understands that we're going through a very crucial time in our history, not just as Native people, but as all of us who are here trying to create a better path. So I just wanted to remind you, all you young people out there, all you natives out there, let's do our part and get registered. And so it's very important. Also want to promote and encourage other artists, with this space. I wanted other artists to keep creating during this pandemic, during all of these crazy things that we're going through, as young people are experiencing not only just a pandemic, but the racial changes that we're going through in this country. I wanted to create a space and an outlet for young Indigenous people who are going through those things, who are at protests or whatever, to come here and use this as an outlet to get some of that stuff out, because it's healthier to do this than it is to risk your life going out into the crazy place. And always trying to be out there. You don't always have to be on those front lines. You can protest in other ways by creating art, creating poetry, doing things like that, music. So let's just keep that in mind, that there's a place for us here on this virtual stage for those of you who need to get some of that out. So um, also, I just want you to know that you can find past shows on our new YouTube channel. So check out the Uplifted channel. That's where you can find past episodes of this and some of the new things that we're going to be creating. We got some cool things coming out. So be sure to check that out. Um, Also, yeah, that's all I got for that. So I just want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. I hope everybody's all good and everything wherever you're at in your communities and at home. I hope that everybody's safe and healthy out there. So I want to get into the begin tonight with our first poet, who is someone who has been on our show before in our earlier episodes, coming to you all the way from Davenport, Iowa. Let's give a virtual round of applause for Christian Demar.
Ready? Okay. Thank you, Dawson, for inviting me again. I love that you're doing this series, and I think it's an excellent thing to do. Encourage people to stay home. Um, so yeah. All right. I'm just gonna start. I haven't written a whole lot lately with things being so challenging, but I will start with something that I've written recently. And this one is called Corona Time. I've been on a binger most of this Corona time. Wine, Netflix, downtime, late and slow mornings. I'm checked out, unavailable, unproductive, uncooperative, unapproachable, unapproved, undone. I need to unwind and get unwind. Um, so another thing that I really like to do with poetry is called a found poem. A lot of times you can do things like take uh, different sentences or passages from magazines and just kind of rearrange them into a found poem. Um, but a writing group that I'm a part of decided to do like a pandemic playlist found poems. So basically, take music lyrics and turn them into a poem. So that is what this is. And this one is like my second one. So this is the title is Pandemic Playlist Number 2, a found poem. I'm never alone. I'm alone all the time. We live in a wheel. Its motor whirs and colors curl. Inside your head, the monsters whirl. Skull cage like a prison. I'm unready for healing. My mind's lost with nightmares streaming. Take me out of this place I'm in. The grabbing hands grab all they can, all for themselves after all. It's a competitive world. Nothing we can say will make you see. You've got a heart of stone you can never feel. In a room full of emptiness, by a freeway, I confess, I was lost in the pages of a book full of death, reading how we'll die alone. Another drink just to pass the time. I can never say no, because I'm going to be free and I'm going to be fine. Build a house of sticks and grow the grass, and build a mast, pull the grapes. Disappear everywhere and watch me. Exploit, inspire, encourage, be responsible for this as she takes on half the world, moving up and so alive. So that was my found poem lyrics, and I can post. I think I made a playlist on Spotify that contains the songs for the lyrics, so I can post that on the link after. And the last thing I have to read is a piece that actually it's not quite a poem, but it's a list. Um, the Midwest Writing Center holds a contest called the Iron Pen, where basically you have 24 hours to respond to a writing prompt. And this was my entry for that, and it did win first place for nonfiction, which is going to be published in their magazine, I think next month. But so the title is The Writing Process of a Procrastinator with a Writing Prompt. The writing prompt, number 1. Our nets have been mended many times in the past. They are too weak to mend again. Number 2, writing in the voice of or from the point of view of George Washington Carver, Abraham Lincoln, Malcolm X, or Babe Didrikson Zacharias. The writing process. Number 1, thinking and drinking and thinking. Number 2, knowing I can't do number 2. Regardless, Googling Babe Didrikson Zaharia. Number 3, passing out drunk, thinking and dreaming about it. Number 4, waking up stuck in that box of relationship metaphor. The nets that are too weak to mend again make me think of my relationship with my ex, but that is an easy metaphor and I can't bring myself to go there. Number 5, making coffee and thinking more on it. Number 6, thinking about how to get my brain out of that obvious box. Number 7, looking up information on net making and net repairing. Number 8, drinking more coffee and thinking about it. Number 9, thinking about how to spin it funny. Number 10, thinking about how a poem would be so much easier, but I'm determined to take the hard route of nonfiction. Number 11, depositing $10 to play for money instead of chips in a game I swore off of depositing money into last week and then playing games for an hour. Number 12, being impressed with myself that I still have $11.37 after playing games for an hour. Number 13, deciding to write about trying to write something for the prompt. Number 14, in the middle of writing about it, driving to Starbucks for a bacon and Gouda breakfast sandwich and venti white chocolate mocha because I'm determined to get those stop in 2 days in a row extra rewards through the app. See this theme of determination? Number 15, thinking I need to talk myself out of the box with someone else. Number 16, messaging my cousin in the drive-through line at Starbucks. Number 17, messaging my mom to tell her I'm coming over and I want to talk about my writing prompt. Our nets have been mended many times in the past. They are too weak to mend again. Number 18, driving to my mom's to talk about it and bounce ideas off of her. Number 9, thought about the prompt was the complicated net of a relationship between her and I, and she was a bit afraid of what I actually wanted to talk about. Number 20, assuring my mother that I really just wanted to bounce ideas off of her and not talk about our relationship. Number 21, appreciating how both of us were very self-centered in thinking about the prompt. My mind went immediately to my relationship with my ex and how easy it would be to write about that weak net that will never be mended. Her mind went immediately to the time I broke the net and took my time mending it. Number 22, gossiping and drinking coffee for an hour. Number 23, thinking about the complex weave of nets going on with my sister. Number 24, brainstorming and making notes. Number 25, making a grocery list after talking about chili. Number 26, looking more at net making. Number 27, looking up net making tools because now I want to make a net. Number 28, thinking about making a net because my birds would love one in their play area. Number 29, thinking about the new bird I want to get tomorrow. Number 30, thinking about the idea of just saying, fuck mending the net, I'll buy a new damn net as the ending of whatever I end up writing. Number 31, driving home intent on stopping by Joann's to buy some net making tools and twine because the best way to write about net making and mending is to make a net, right? Number 32, realizing it's Saturday and Joann's is crowded and I haven't showered in a couple of days. Remembering that I have tons of twine at home that I bought to make bird toys and thinking, I don't need fancy net making tools anyway. I'm sure there's a YouTube video that will show me how to do it with just my hands. Number 33, finishing a piece on writing about the damn writing prompt and finally realizing I have at least an ending and maybe a beginning. Number 34, writing it at least 5 different ways and none of them seem quite right. Number 35, going out for wine and food and more thinking. Number 36, finally figuring it all out. Number 37, scrapping it all and going for something new and different. Number 38, scrapping that and using what I had in the very first place when I was writing about a prompt. Number 39, realizing I needed a new writing process. Number 40, fuck mending the net, I'll buy a new damn net. Okay, that's what I have. And I appreciate this. I love that you're doing this, Dawson. And I'm really excited to hear Cinnamon Kills first because I've heard great things about her. So I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Everybody, let's give a virtual round of applause for Christian Demar, our first poet of the night. Again, we want to thank you all for tuning in to the live virtual poetry reading series presented by the Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery Cafe and the Indigenous Art Alliance. Um, so again, that was pretty cool. I want to also encourage all of you artists out there to continue to write and create your art. It's a great way, it's therapy, but also, I mean, it's just I think our time, it's much needed that the world needs us artists to be doing this stuff like that we're doing right now. Having a space, having a voice to uh, you know shine some light on some of this craziness, but in a different way. So just know, all you Indigenous artists out there, that you have a space here at the Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery and Cafe. And with that, I want to share some of the poems that I've been working on over the past week, or since the last show that we had. This is just some of the things that I've been reflecting on over the past couple of days. It's been pretty nice outside, and watching the leaves turn color, just reminds me that it's that time of year. With everything going on, fortunately, there's a lot of people here still here, despite being in Iowa and going through such a crazy, being in a crazy place, because we don't have a mask mandate or nothing like that. Nothing has really changed here in this state. So, the fact that we're still trudging through those waters and trying to make the best of it with what we got here on the settlement. So I just want to continue to provide that space and to keep creating. And so I'm going to jump into this poem, a couple poems here before we get into our next writer, our next poet. All right. Some of these poems I don't title or nothing, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. Will my youngest child be able to drink from the faucet outside? When she's an adult, will the skies still be blue and the sunset still have that magnificent shell? As long as we still have our fire, sprinkled with a few words of our language, I think we will sustain minimal impact. Can we sustain minimal impact after the last attempts at our lives? Must we bring back our dances, or is that even a thing anymore since the fasting has become a fashion, an antique sold to a fastest? Let's see who's the fastest to come to our senses, to snap out of it. Because if we wait for disaster to hit, we'll surely be on schedule to meet the pit. Who will remember the rituals when the screen in front of us plays a habitual role in our lives, played by visions meshed together like some stew rationed after dark skies? Um, this next one is a poem called After the Storm. Just thinking about the ratio, the land hurricane that we went through and survived here in Iowa. You know, uh, I was out picking up trees and debris and stuff still, and um, so this poem is I titled After the Storm. Old screen doors smack the back of the small tan house, but the noise doesn't face the birds in their natural state, screaming the hymns of our ancestors, or they trying to communicate, sending warning shots of what's to come. They are sirens, deranged and sickening. After the storm, the birds sit at the local Casey's, loitering as if laws don't apply, hair dyed blue, crack showing out of the small white tank top, chirping about the closeness to death and how their hearts sank, the dramatics of one bird's last breath. Trees bent sideways, many miles of untouched dirt, dirty corn sprinkles the landscape, scraping their ooze off the streets and roads that lead to the banks of the new colony. The school sits next to the graveyard. Um, I think that one was inspired by just kind of cruising around too, these small town Iowa towns, and just seeing kind of the devastation that it, you know, has still on, a lot of places surrounding, central Iowa here. And it just kind of, all of these images kind of just, played into, you know, this poem, and seeing how like the corn, all the corn that's bent over, and like these farmers who have their livelihoods, I guess. I mean, it's just, you got to drive around to kind of believe how devastating that must be to these kind of small farmers, big farmers, whatever. um but yeah, that was kind of what inspired that poem there. This next one, uh, I guess it's just a kind of a reflection that I had, but it's wild how a picture can make you emotional sometimes, like your daughter riding a camel with that angelic smile of innocence, a temporary loan captured on the phone, or your baby girl, a fresh flower picked hanging in her hair. How can one be so blessed? Or your son sitting in amazement as the movie scrambles on, a temporary loan captured on the phone. Sometimes it could be one last memory, a special moment in time, recorded, to be kept like a book of rhymes, hidden treasures, gems, locked away behind a few numbers, a scroll left, right, down, and up, a digital pathway to uncover someday if the coding doesn't get stuck. So again, that's just kind of like reflected on how, looking back at pictures, you kind of get kind of all these emotions going again, and it's kind of, growing up to like seeing, pictures uh, kind of evolve, photographs evolve from, you had to go in and get them developed to the Polaroid to now you have them on phones. And if you lose your phone, you lose these kind of images and these captured memories, and how that can really make you feel like, you know, and I think that's what really inspired that was, kind of flicking through, looking at pictures and was like, wow, it really kind of keeps a timestamp on a lot of things that happen in our lives. And so that's kind of what really got that going. And again, sitting outside these beautiful days that we've been having here, which brings me into this last poem that I got and that I wrote, which was again reflecting on the changes that we're going through and how we need to kind of get ready for winter and get ready to kind of again turn internally. I know we've all been kind of turning internally for the past whole year of 2020, but we're gonna have to do that a little bit more, and hopefully come out of this year, better. It's got to get better, right? I mean, um, but it's that time, and watching these leaf change, like I said before, is really something I really enjoy doing here at home. It's such a beautiful time. Uh, so with that, here's this last poem. It's that time of year when the leaf change. Soon they will be gone, and the cold will have set in. Snagging weather, some would call it. Boozing weather, I used to call it. Early morning, still leaning against the car, no matter how heavy the fog gets. Die hard, still waiting to make that 6 o'clock run to the store. Listening to Faith No More, real loud, smoking Newports and war whooping, sounding like a dying cow. Sand Hill, parked near the edge of civilization. 5:45, it's getting closer. And when the jokes die down and we're getting ready to drive into that small town, and that silence ensues, and you begin to think, looking over the bluff as the wind picks up, automatic gunshots ring off in the rough. You can't help but think that our ancestors chilled here too, overlooking all the same stuff at this same time of year, several hundred years in the back. So much has changed, but the consensus is fuck it. There's no going back. Or do we? Or do we too? Change like the leaves, and will we return to Mishkwaki Aduwawin? Aduwawin. And again, that's just reflecting on these changes. Mesquaki's, we believe in that kind of balance that's in our flag. If you've ever noticed our flag, it's red and green, and that kind of talks about that balance. That fall, that spring, that life, that death that we all know that happens, that cycle of life. And so we're upon that again here, and it's very it's that time of year where we all kind of remember and reflect, and we some people celebrate thanks and other things, but with all that's going on this year, it's really more of a time to do that because of everything that we've gone and endured and watched and witnessed on our screens. That there's like the time that right now that we're going through this fall season is that time to really reach out to our loved ones and to just try to make those connections again and go forward into this new year with those connections of having each other around, having our relatives around, because what we're going through is pretty historic and pretty monumental in our lives. And, our young children are going to be telling these stories. And so I think if anything that we've learned is that that's something that's very important to us, is that connection to our family and our loved ones and our relatives and our friends and all of those people we care about. So I know that, I get that from missing like powwows and stuff and going to powwows and seeing, all our peeps at those events. And so it's just really like, that time of year again, because we missed that whole season. We missed the whole summer of traveling and those long drives and meeting up with friends and stuff like that. So, going into this, after all of this craziness, we need to, I think that's one thing we need to take with us is that connection to our people, So with that, I think I'm going to quit yapping and get into our last artist, our last poet. And I'm very, very excited to welcome her back. She's graced our virtual stage in our first show here at the Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery and Cafe. So with that, I want to all give a virtual round of applause. Welcome to Cinnamon Kills first.
Hello, everybody. Maget neheshave natista hamatiakapi wichakpi lutawi imachiapi kisto shahila amataha daya ichiapi dayawan chianke dayawan chiankapi. I'm in a Lakota language class, and I'm just stepping into all spaces and trying to practice and bring the voices of our ancestors into all spaces, even when they're digital. So introduce myself first in Cheyenne. My name is Little Woman, and in Lakota, my name is Red Star Woman. I'm glad to be here. And I have some gems for you today. And then also, which I mean like old school, high school poems I have found, which are going to be hilarious, and I'm happy to share those. And then also two poems. One I'm going to read on behalf of a small team that I work with. It wasn't written by me, it was written by my co-mentor, Tommy Woon, but I have had permission to read it and share, so I'm going to share that. And then also the last poem I'm going to share is what I hope I can give you all as medicine right now, because as Dawson had said, like, everybody's going through a hard time right now. Like, I feel it, we all feel it, it's in our body, it's just wearing on us, So to have events like this, like Dawson has put together, where we can gather even in these digital spaces to help uplift and just commune with one another, is really healing right now. And especially like stay home and stay safe. That's a message for sure that it's a hard one for me to even adhere to right now. And what I mean is the Northern Cheyenne Nation right now is really being ravaged by COVID. So many of our people are passing. My own grandfather right now are waiting to lay him to rest. So that's been something I've had to do, is to stay home here in Portland, Oregon, where I'm at, to stay safe instead of going to support my family in person, because we're in a time right now where everything is backwards, where usually the way we show love actually can cause harm to one another by, hugging or being present, and just traveling is dangerous right now. So I'm here staying home and staying safe, and it's a really hard thing for me to do, but I'm here 100% to support that message. And I want to thank Dawson and the Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery and Cafe for hosting events like this. So even through the hard times, we can just join together with one another. And also vote, of course. That's the other message, 100%. I wanted to remind people to vote. It's absolutely important at this time. Okay, so to take it into my poetry, like I said, some of these are gems. And I just recently collected a bunch of boxes out of storage, and I came across this paper. I mean, out of all the boxes, I saw like through the plastic, rumors eat you alive. And I was like, what the heck is that? My old poems. I was so embarrassed. But anyway, the whole experience of going back through and actually reading my old high school poems, because I studied the Iowa Writers Workshop, but I studied fiction. But not knowing, like my whole life, I always relied on poetry to get through hard moments, you know? And so right now for me personally, this pandemic and this revolution is too hard, and this death that's hitting my community is too heavy for me to be able to create really in this time. But I'm ingesting a lot, I'm reading a lot, I'm listening to a lot of different voices and taking in as much as I can. And so anyways, it's just a trip to go back to my old roots, I guess, as an early poet, even though I would never really identified strongly as like, I'm a poet. But I'll just get into the writing because it's hilarious. So some of it is super just cheesy, like this one. I must have been following some pattern. There's like numbers on the sides. I think it's the syllables per line. Anyway, just a little format to them. But the first one says, night sky, so vast and calm, twinkling all night long. The moon and stars are comforting, tranquil. Which is like super cheesy. It feels like cliche. I shared these with my like sister friend, and she's like, we all have to start somewhere. Which is true. So this one is also too true right now. Summer comes once a year. It's your time to relax. Sooner than anyone expects, it's gone. This one is, I don't know. I'm just gonna read them without trying to give you any buffer because they're just kind of raw. But this one says, first year in basketball, try hard, working harder, improving a little every day, hustle. This one says, res boys, after one thing, we all know, dot, 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 it's fry bread. Res girls try, but mama's is the bestest. Oh my God. Oh, and then we get into these kind of weird poems. I'll explain it at the end. So this one says, haters, no escaping them. They'll be everywhere you are. We have to learn how to ignore them. Carry on. It's like super scribbled out, so I could like hardly read it. It's all dang haters. Okay, then this one I mentioned, it says, rumors eat you alive. Takes only one person. There's no way to defend yourself. Stay strong. So I was like, dang, I must have been going through some things, talking about haters and rumors. And then I thought basketball, first year basketball is my senior year. So then there's this poem, feelings no one else knows. Why does it seem so wrong? You can't change what's inside of you. It's there. Which was my total bi curiosity, because I came out as bisexual the second half of my senior year during basketball. So anyway, I just thought those early poems were just like hilarious. But I just wanted to share because, like my friend, my sister Mama said, we all start somewhere. Now I'm writing with a lot more intention. Like I said, I'm hardly writing right now, but when I do write, it has meaning. So my mentor, my co-mentor and friend, my dear friend Tommy, I think I wrote something that inspired him to write a poem. And then I asked him to send me the poem recently. So he sent it to me. And then that inspired me to write this other poem. When I showed it back to him, it inspired him to write another poem. So this has become, I'm like doing the unraveling of like a snowball effect here, but I'm going to start by actually reading the latest poem, which is the one he wrote that's inspired by the one I wrote. So his is called, and it's reflective of this project we're working on together, but it's called Healing the Future by Design. Creating the New Seventh Ripple. That's the title. So it says, being present is the moment you experienced. The past is over and the future hasn't started. Being present is complete unawareness of limitations and complete awareness of possibilities. Being present is the highest expression of human brilliance. Anyone can be brilliant right now. A traumatized person doesn't know the past is over. A traumatized person doesn't know a new future can start now. A traumatized person is preoccupied with limitations. A traumatized person cannot see possibilities. A traumatized person in recovery knows the past had good and bad moments. A traumatized person in recovery senses when the present is better. A traumatized person in recovery embraces when the present is better. Oh, I'm sorry. A traumatized person in recovery embraces a better present, rather, to step into the future. A traumatized person in recovery is unafraid of limitations and possibilities. A trauma-free person is able to confront perpetrators of bias, hate, and violence. I'll read that line again. A trauma-free person is able to confront perpetrators of bias, hate, and violence. A trauma-free person sees the difference between a fight to disarm and a fight to dominate. A trauma-free person is a resilient person and exercises flexible emotional intelligence. A trauma-free person is brilliant. A trauma-free person leaves brilliance. A trauma-free person becomes the ancestors that descendants deserve. Perpetrators who stop blaming reckon with themselves. Perpetrators who reckon with the inescapable reckon with suffering, with their suffering. Perpetrators who reckon and release their suffering end others' suffering. The ancestor that descendants deserve is able to call out perpetrators and call in better selves. Better selves inspire others to be better selves. Communities of better selves stop perpetrators. Together, we are all for one and one for all. Together, we heal the future by design. This is the way we begin the new seventh ripple to heal the future by design. So a little breakdown there. September 19th was the Global Day of Peace, and I was asked to participate in this event. So I wrote this poem for the Global Day of Peace. My poem here is called Pause for Peace. Pause for Peace. And I start by saying, let us first begin by welcoming the ancestors and the spirits of this land to be here right now. Now that the warriors, chiefs, and matriarchs of times past are here at last, let us pause and honor their presence. We are one. We are one. We are one. Mitake Oyasin. We are all related. related. We are all related in relation. Not just me and you, brothers and sisters, but all of us. The rocks and the rivers, everything that flies above and everything that crawls below, related, in relation. My relative, do you ever just pause? Stop scrolling, stop scrolling, stop scrolling. Whatever you're searching for, it is not out there in the nothingness. There's beauty and expansion, creativity and wonderment inside ourselves, inside of you. Put your phone down. Sit with your breath. Go in and go deep. There's an entire universe in there. Can't you feel it resting in your stomach? Can't you feel it bursting from your chest? That heart is your power source. That beat is your own natural rhythm. You are perfectly on time. You are perfectly in time with the universe. Feel that power, that presence, that's you. Now, clear your mind, breathe your spirit into your body, and follow your heart because it will lead you. And now, if you will allow, I am asking to lead you. If you are comfortable doing so, please close your eyes. Yes, really. Right now, close your eyes. Listen to the sound of my voice, and as you do, hear the voices of all those who have come before me. Now breathe in the air of revolutionary love. Breathe out the stress and suffering. Breathe in, imagining a source of compassion. Breathe out the grief and violence. Breathe in healing light. Breathe out trapped emotions. Breathe in pride, reckoning, and survival. Breathe out all the pain and shame. Breathe in forgiveness. Breathe out inadequacy. Breathe in your fight for lives and life. Breathe out your fear and hate. Breathe in our healthy future. Breathe out our wounded past. Imagine your ancestors surrounding you now. Imagine your own compassion surrounds you. Now let us take a deep breath together for a change. Breathe in. Breathe out. And as we continue breathing from where we are, sense our breaths together for a change. Let us feel and see no stranger, now or ever. Now repeat after me in your own mind. May I find peace. May I know peace. May I create peace. And if you haven't yet, please open your eyes. May we remember we are good. May we know we are strong. May we feel we are loved. We are love. I am love. I am love, peace. That's it. I just wanted to say Nia Ish, Pilamayaye, for your attention and your time tonight. Thank you for those who are listening now and for those who will watch in the future. That's it.
All right, everybody, let's give another virtual round of applause for Cinnamon Kills first. I am very calm and relaxed now, and kind of chilled out now, and just kind of want to enjoy the rest of the Saturday evening. So again, I really want to thank everybody for tuning in. Be sure to share with your friends and relatives, and to also let other people know that we're working on doing this every Saturday, continuing to do this. We're continuing to try to provide space and opportunity for Indigenous artists, Native artists out there, young artists, old artists, whoever wants to get down and show their work and all of that stuff. So definitely be checking us out, Facebook page at the Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery and Cafe. Also, for those of you, if you know people who aren't so socially on social media, uh, or anything like that, be sure to check out our YouTube page at the Uplifted channel. We'll have all the episodes there. So some of the older folks that don't know about live streaming and all of that will get these on our YouTube page later on, so you can check that out as well. So again, I want to just thank our poets for coming on tonight. And again, uh, remember to get out and vote, get out and get registered. Remember to take care of your community, your family, and yourselves, most importantly, because you can't give you can't be a good giver in your community if you're not taking care of yourself and taking those steps, those that moment to breathe and to pay attention to your breath and your awareness and all of that. So be sure you're doing that as well, recognizing when you're not feeling well and stuff like that. So it's very important that we do that, that we take care of ourselves, because like I said, man, after all of this craziness, it's got to be better. You got to have that kind of mindset and think that I mean, you can only go up from here. And for someone like me, who's been down and out and been at the bottom, knows that there is a light at the end of that tunnel. So just hang in there, and be sure to check on your relatives, because winter's quickly approaching. So with that, I just want to say again, before we get out of here, thank Cinnamon and Christian for being on here and doing their thing this Saturday night. So thank you all for tuning in. This has been Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery and Cafe. Stay home live virtual poetry reading series. Have a great night.